Hello and welcome back to the Academia podcast. This is episode number 13, and I'm your host, Charlotte Duffy. I'd first like to begin by thanking the American Philosophical Association for generously funding this episode. You can find shorts and reels of this episode on all platforms at the handle at Academia Podcast. Today we're joined by my friend and colleague from the Human Flourishing Program at Harvard. Her name's Christina Hinton. She is a research associate with the program and a CEO of a company she founded called Research Schools International. So they do a lot of policy work and research on childhood development and education for private schools, public schools, school boards, and big policy bodies that she works with. So groups like UNICEF, for example. So she's a real expert on childhood development. She's writing a book on a lot of these issues right now. And so we come to her at an opportune time to ask her how she pulls all of this off while also being a single mom to two beautiful children, a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. And so she gives us her secrets. She tells us how she builds community in ways that benefit not only her and her family, but also those who help her. So she has real strategies for this and a whole job category that she's created called family assistance. So she tells us what that's about, what that involves, who to look for, where to look for this kind of help, and how to sustain that in a cost-effective way long term. So without further ado, here we go. I just first want to thank you for your time because I really admire you and everything that you're doing. And so being able to actually pick your brain on some of these issues is really great. But yeah, basically I have one question for you, which is, you're a mom to young children, multiple young children. You're a CEO of a successful company. You're a scholar. You're a single parent. Like, how do you do that? How do you do all of that? I mean, you're really like a limit case. So, please share your wisdom. What are the hacks?
Dry shampoo is the first hack, which is,
I love that.
I'm joking, but actually it is a really good hack for when you don't have time to wash your hair, which happens when you're a parent.
Yeah.
Um,
I've just started with that, like baby powder actually, or even cornstarch is a like cheap alternative.
yeah,
But yeah.
yeah.
Um, anyways,
Yeah. So I guess my main answer to that would be around like building a community around the family. So actually like in hunter-gatherer societies, children were raised in these rich networks of communities. And I remember reading this stat that kind of blew my mind, which was a baby on average would have been held by 10 to 12 caretakers in a day in these societies. And like these are the societies that we evolved to live in and raise children in, like biologically, right? So if you think about that, if we kind of evolved to have 10 to 12 people helping to care for a baby, and now we have like one mom usually caring for a baby, even in families where people are married, that's often the case. It's a lot on the families. And so I often try to like actively build a sense of community around the children. So I can tell you like a little more about that. Um, one aspect of that is like as a CEO, there's this common challenge, which they call the key man risk, or in my case, it would be like the key woman risk. But basically, it means that when the CEO is central to everything, you can't scale because, of course, you're only one person. And so there's that kind of bottleneck. And because of this common like key man risk, there's a principle that the CEO should outsource everything that they personally don't have to do themselves. So every time you look at a task, it's like, am I the only person who can do this, or could someone else do it? And if the answer is someone else, as a CEO, you're meant to outsource it. And so I actually apply that to my family life as well. So for me, like probably my highest priority in life is being really present with my children. Like I want to be there, I want to be shaping them, interacting with them, spending quality time with them. Um, but there's a lot of things like around parenting that I don't have to do necessarily. And so, for example, like like skill filling out school forms or sending the doctor's letters so they can be at camp or renewing my child's passport or even cooking every night is a lot. And so what I try to do is I try to outsource these tasks that are kind of like around the children, cleaning, things like that. And One thing is, it doesn't have to be really expensive. So the way that I actually do it, which is relevant to academics, is I get students who I look for students that'll be there for a long time. So often like freshmen who've just come in. And basically I pay them just per hour for the hours they work. So it's not like I have to hire like a full-time family assistant. I just have a grad student or undergrad student who can come over and do some of these tasks. And I generally like pick students that are in my field. So they might be studying education or psychology. So I can also mentor them and help them with their work and kind of, talk with them about things we're interested in, both professionally. So it really kind of creates this win-win where they get this like sort of special mentorship that they wouldn't get, otherwise. And also they help with family life. And it's really cute. Like there's one that we're very close to, and she used to always say, "Oh, I feel like I'm microdosing in adulthood." She's like, "I'm learning all these things I didn't know." So it's also, they're learning real life skills too. So, and the way that it's happened with us is I've really also invested in like building, long-term caring relationships with, there's two in particular that have been in our lives for many years now. And it's like, they really love the children. Like they treat them more like cousins than just like someone they babysit. Like both of them like will hang out with the kids on their own free time for fun. Like they're like, "Oh, the Spider-Man movie came out. Thomas loves that. Can I take him?" And I'm like, "Great." Um, and similarly, like I try to invest in them. Like my family travels a lot, so I'll like take them traveling internationally with us, and that's like a wonderful opportunity for them that they might not have had, right? And so we tried to like really like I prioritize those relationships in the way I prioritize some of my closer friendships, honestly. And so that's been like a really wonderful, I think, beautiful like support for our family. And that I kind of try to keep it again, like kind of long term. So one of them just graduated. So even though she's graduated, we keep in touch. Like she does virtual Spanish lessons with the kids still, or if we go on vacation, we might take her still and she'll babysit for the time or whatever. So it's kind of really like a lifelong friendship kind of situation, which I think has been really wonderful for everybody. So that's one thing is kind of building these relationships with people who can help with some of the tasks, all the tasks around being a parent.
Can I
Um,
just ask, how do you, so you don't like run a email to everybody. I assume you sort of see a student who has this kind of potential. You're like, I want to invest in that student. And then do you approach them directly,
yes.
sort of
So
one-on-one kind of thing, or what's
what
that look
I,
like?
yeah, Harvard has this like internal site where you can post job opportunities. So a lot of people post for babysitters on there, and I post for this role, which is called family assistant, which is kind of like you can help with anything. So I mean, within reason, obviously, but they help with cooking almost always because I don't really understand how people do that if they're working till 5 and then picking the kids at 5. How is dinner ready at 5? That totally confuses me. So that's something I often outsource. Um, I mean, I sometimes cook ahead. I have them do it like a couple times a week, so it helps. And Yeah, so I put up an ad and then I interview people and then I'm quite choosy and then I pick one I really like. Um, and so I feel like this has been like a nice, just like life hack as well. Like I work with a lot of my friends. And I also feel like if you're hiring childcare, like hire people you actually really like because you're spending a lot of time with them and they're shaping your children's personalities. Like I feel really grateful for some of these young women having shaped my children's personalities. Like one of them, Alina Alessandra, like she's very funny and charismatic. And like I see that in my daughter now. And she gets it from many places, but definitely that's one of the places is um is that young lady. So it's really, yeah, it's really sweet to kind of like pick people that you like being around, you value, the way they are with your children and you can feel good about that. Like I feel really good about leaving my children with them when I
So,
do. So
and
yeah.
when you travel, so you bring these people so you can kind of sort of bring
Yes.
your network with you where you go. And
Yes.
conferences, I imagine, probably also your business stuff. Like,
Yes.
uh,
Yeah. I don't like really being away from the children for too long. Like a weekend or something is fine. But if I'm going, I often travel to Europe for work. If I'm going for like a week or longer, I often just take the family assistant with us and the kids. And so, it's it's fun. Um, but yeah, it works. It's kind of like they're quite used to traveling now. So, um,
That's
yeah.
really awesome. I don't know how you mastered that. To pick your brain later about how you master traveling with children. But that's impressive. Yes, very smart.
Yeah,
Cool.
and then another aspect of this is just like getting creative, like in building this support network. So, I think one thing that has made me pretty like successful as an entrepreneur is that when I approach a problem, I don't think like, how do people typically approach this? Like that's not, I think like what works here? Like in a very open-minded way. Like what can work? What can we like figure out that would work. And so I kind of, again, am in the same way in my family life. So to give you an example, like my neighbor has an only child. And so she often comes over our house to play with my children. So she has someone to play with, and they all really like each other. And she's a sweet little girl. But then also, I can send my kids to her house for a play date and I can run out and do something I need to do because as a single mom, like you can't leave your house, right? You're sort of stuck there, like when the kids go to sleep or something. Like, you can't go out. But in this scenario, I can send them to her. And like for example, last week, like I sent them to my neighbors and I went to a close friend's birthday party, and it's like that way neither of us is paying childcare and we're both getting these little breaks. So trying to really look for like a situation that's a win-win for everybody again, like I think is really key. Like look for other people who have a need and can you like pair up and support each other. Um, and then yeah, I would say the last aspect is like supporting your children's social emotional development and autonomy. So like I involve them in family life a lot, like in developmentally appropriate ways, of course. There's quite a bit of research that shows that chores are actually good for kids for their social emotional development. So that's great. And for example, my kids do things like unload the dishwasher when it's clean, or even like they're 5 and 7, even like bring the little garbage thing to the outside garbage thing or whatever. And we have like a star chart and they get a star when they do a chore. When they fill up a row, they get a prize. And so, they kind of like they're part of family life. And like when we clean up after dinner, like they're responsible to put their own dish in the dishwasher. It's small things, but it matters. And we also have this like cleanup routine at the end of the night where I play the spoonful of sugar song from Mary Poppins. And if we finish, we all like frenzied clean the living room, kind of made like a fun game out of it and see how quickly we can do it. And if we finish before the song, they each get a star on their star chart. And it's cute because it kind of like speeds up at the end and they all get excited. And, so just like kind of like making it fun, making it light, making it development appropriate, but also making it helpful. And I think it's also good for their development to feel like, oh, I'm a part of the family and I need to contribute as well. You know, I think that can be helpful too. And then like also related to that is like obviously I study children's social emotional learning. So another key thing I focus on is like developing their social and emotional skills. So things like consideration or generosity or patience that are just helpful. They're good for them to have in life, and they're just like helpful in family life. Like, right? Like, if they're thinking about like someone else's experience or, having to wait for something, like if they're bored, I tell them like, oh, you have an opportunity to practice your patience, which obviously they love. But it is. It's literally an opportunity to practice your patience. So, I'm not always trying to like swoop in and save them from everything that might be a little bit uncomfortable. Like I'm kind of like, you can build a skill here. And so that those opportunities to practice are like a key way of building those skills. Other ways of building those skills are like positive encouragement. Like I'll say like, oh, it was really kind of you to share with your sister, or it really meant a lot to me when you helped clean up the table tonight because I was tired and it was really sweet of you and thoughtful. Like I kind of like positively encourage. And then the other thing is like modeling. So like when you do it yourself, they'll copy it too. So there's quite a bit of research that shows like kids do what you do, not what you say. So like I also try to like, like I try to help
Yeah.
them and I try to, model like different things like different social emotional skills. So for example, let's say like I'm feeling annoyed, like I'll be like, oh, mommy has to do my yoga size to calm my body down. Like I just sort of even make it like a joke, but also like I'm modeling like, oh, sometimes we feel annoyed and then we have to like calm our body before we interact and how do we take that pause and how do we like, whatever you skills you want to develop in them, like being active about modeling them for them too, I think is a great way to develop that. Um, and so yeah, I think a lot of it is really about like building loving relationships, both like in your family and in your community. And we know, of course, from decades of research that that is perhaps the key to flourishing. So I think it helps make your life work and also helps make you and your children flourish. So I would say that's probably my main message in terms of how to make it work.
Oh, that's great. I mean, that resonates a lot with what I hear from other people who are managing a little less than you. But yeah, it's like outsourcing sounds bad, but when it actually looks like mentorship, when it actually looks like empowering your children to find their limit and master it, it's a beautiful thing. It's an opportunity, actually.
Yes.
So
I think it's great for them to see other people's ways of being, other people's perspectives. Like I feel like it's helped my children be pretty like open to diversity as well because they don't think there's just one way. They think, oh, some people do things this way, other people do things that way. I mean, we have consistent rules, but everyone has their own way of being. And so I think there's value in that.
wow, well, that's great. I mean, you've pulled this off over distance, over limited time. So, I mean, just unbelievable. But yeah, that's actually really great feedback. So, thank you so much. I want to respect your time and let you go. But yeah, you've shown me a new horizon of what's possible. You could be a CEO and a mom and a scholar. It's like unreal. But to actually tap your student network, that's
Yeah,
really savvy.
I
That's
think
kind of 4D chess.
yeah, I think it's a great, especially students who will be there for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, smart.
Because they get used to you and your family and you really can build those long-term relationships. Like I feel like that is a great way with academics to do that. And they have more time and energy than we do because they're 20 somethings, so they they can
Yeah.
run around on the playground and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I think it's good for them too. I remember when I was a student, like I babysat a lot actually, and I learned so much that I find helpful with my kids now. And I got
Mm.
to see like different ways of parenting and it's been so helpful, like being a parent kind of. So yeah, I do feel like it's like just a really nice for everyone if they intend to be a parent someday too. They learn a lot too.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like so many academics struggle with like work-life balance because we're all sort of reinventing the wheel quietly on our own. But if we can
Yeah.
incorporate younger people who may one day want to be a parent, some of that communication, that knowledge is translated already. Uh,
Yes,
and it benefits you. So why
absolutely.
don't we do this? It's actually great. I can't believe I never thought about tapping the student body. But yeah, it's really
Yes.
happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. All
Great.
right. Well, I'll let you go. Thank you so much, Christina. I look forward to talking to you and hearing more also about your book and your other research. I'm really excited by all the things you're doing in the program right now that I get to hear about. It's going to
Thank
be
you. Yeah,
really
we're
fun.
actually hoping to launch a podcast on evidence-based parenting. So
Oh,
stay
oh
tuned.
man. Okay.
It'll be
Yes, please
really
send me that actually. Like I would love to
okay.
listen to some of the episodes. That would be wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
We haven't made it yet, but the idea is that we'll partner with comedians actually. And
Oh,
so we'll get parenting questions and then we'll answer them in evidence-based ways with the comedian chiming in to make it fun and
yeah.
engaging. So we're really excited about it.
I actually, it's funny you say I have this little like love for comedians who tell jokes about parenting. So
Yes.
they're actually the best. They're so hilarious. Yeah.
It's the best. It's just like it is really funny, and if you can laugh at it, it makes it a lot more manageable.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. Absolutely. You need some humor. Bring some levity.
Yes.
So cool.
Oh,
All right. Well, I'll let you go. I'm
yeah.
sure you have other meetings, but thank you so much.
Take care. Bye.
Okay.